Hi everyone, so another Monday and we have another article from FFG, this time spoiling the last ship in Wave 9, the Shadowcaster. So I've pulled up the old spread from the last article just so we can go through what we already knew. As you can see, the only thing we know about the dial so far is that it's got a green 3 bank, so that should indicate that it's a pretty quick ship. It being called a pursuit craft as well, you'd like to hope it can move a little bit. Just wanted to cover as well, the only pilot we don't know about now is the PS2 one. They didn't spoil a generic, but it looks like everything else. Oh no, there's a couple of crew, it looks like maybe. Black Slice, so Black Sun Slice, maybe some crew, I'd imagine. As a Veteran Instincts, we already know what that does. 2 tactical jammers, countermeasures. What we now know is rigged cargo chute. We don't know what the gyro targeting thing does, I'm going to guess at. But we've got quite a bit of information on this now, so I'll bring up the cards that they have spoiled. So we've got ship and then some of the upgrades. So we already knew about Sabine. She comes in at PS5 and at 35 points. The stat line is the 3 attacks, 2 agility, 7 hull and 3 shields. So it's sticking with the scum, that ship roll of around about 10 hit points for large bases now. Especially the ones behind 2 agility. And it just seemed to be varying whereabouts of putting that, whether it be in the hull or the shields. Still the interesting fact with the 2 illicits and the crew slot. Then we have the mobile firing arc, which goes into a bit more detail on how it works in the article, which I'll link in the description for you all. But yeah, so when defending against an enemy ship inside your mobile firing arc at range 1 to 2, you may add 1 focus result to your roll. So another form of dice manipulation that seems to be prevalent in the Wave 9 meta that they seem to be building. A lot of focus on your firing arcs, which we talk about a lot in the articles for Wave 9, and there seems to be a lot of just plain adding stuff in, so like Nora's ability, Sabine here, the fearlessness EPT from the Fang Fighter. So there seems to be a new way they're looking at, a new trigger that they're exploring basically. Then we go on to Asajj Ventress, so the first character I think we've seen come in from a Clone Wars cartoon. So she's interesting. Jumps 2 points for access to an EPT and 1 pilot skill. And she is, at the start of a combat phase, you may choose a ship at range 1 to 2. If it is inside your mobile firing arc, assign it 1 stress token. So that's pretty good again. A little bit of control to the to Scum faction, starting to build up the stress meta. Obviously the rebels are still king with the stress bots, and I suppose the TLT tactician K-Wings took a hit from the flowchart, so maybe we're bringing everyone onto an even keel now. But yeah, it's nice to see, especially when we come onto one of the crew later on. I think synergizes pretty well with Ventress if you can trigger that ability. And obviously she is the cheapest pilot with the EPT, unless the PS2 one gets one, but I doubt that. It seems to be Scum EPTs kick in at PS3 for generics. And then we have Kentsu Onya, PS7 for 38 points, also has an EPT. And then at the start of a combat phase, you may choose 1 ship at range 1. If it is inside your primary and mobile firing arc, you assign it 1 tractor beam token. So a little bit trickier, involves range 1, it's only pilot skill 7, but she seems to be a pretty quick ship to get up in people's faces, so it should be interesting. And just assigning a tractor beam token seems really, really good. I'm pretty excited for that kind of thing, and it is at the start of a combat phase, so it happens before you get to fire, so it can really start to help stack up abilities, I think. yeah, again, until we see the dial and the actual points cost of the PS2, I don't really know which ones are going to be the best. I like Sabine's ability defensively. I like Kentsu and Ventress's both for control aspects. One thing I did just want to touch on before I go into the title and stuff was I still have the image of the original spread that they mistakenly put up. So I was just going to talk about this points jump here from 35 to 37. So obviously it looks like Sabine, when they changed it, got a buff in pilot skill, and I don't know if that accounts for why there's a 2-point increase in points for one pilot skill and an EPT. Feels like a bit of a bigger jump. If Sabine, or whatever the original name was, had been PS4, that jump seems like a bit more value from that 2-point jump for 2 pilot skill. So there's some value there, and I also like that they kept Kentsu's art even if they moved it around. So like Kentsu got a brand new one, Sabine looks like she got a brand new one, and Asajj Ventress took Kentsu's. I really like the Ventress one. Looks like she's flying over Coruscant, so it's pretty nice. Yeah, so I just wanted to show that again, just to remind people that this has changed at some point. So I don't know when this mock-up was done, but hopefully that might indicate that Sabine got a 1 point in pilot skill buff. I don't know whether it was through play testing or what, but I feel like she's good value there. So I'll get rid of that one, and we'll go back on to actually talking about what's in the pack rather than what used to be in it. So the Shadowcaster title is the Lancer Pursuit Craft only. It is a unique title. After you perform an attack that hits, if a defender is inside your mobile firing arc and at range 1 to 2, you may assign the defender 1 tractor beam token. So Kentsu with the title, you can potentially double tractor beam someone pretty easily. I think there's a nice image in the article. It shows a Kentsu player. Obviously it's all a mock-up, so it's not really happened, but barrel rolling one person onto a rock and then boosting another guy out of arc and just keeping the ship alive that way, using your offense and your application of a tractor beam to just mess with people's firing arcs and stuff. Then the other things that are spelled right at the end of the article is something that it looks like they're doing for Wave 9, as well as looking at the firing arcs and this just applying results if you meet certain conditions, is affecting the actual battlefield. So it was hinted at with the spread. I'll bring that up again. So with the token just up in the top right there being a big debris cloud, and it having the guides on it. But the rigged cargo chute. As an action, you discard this card to drop 1 cargo token for 1 point. It's really interesting, actually. I like it a lot. It's going to be really, really interesting. I think it shows messing with a Tycho. You dart in between two asteroids and then drop this and like corner off parts of a table, and that with the Scum faction not really having any dedicated bombers at the moment, this is a good alternative, and they persist into a game as well. It's not like if you drop a proxy mine token, someone can just chance it, fly over it, and then clear away for a more important pilot. However, we do have the seismic torpedo spoiled now. So this actually does not come in the Shadowcaster pack. It specifically says in the article that this is a torpedo out of the Arc 170 pack, just to make sure we avoid any confusion there. But it's an action torpedo. Discard this card to choose an obstacle at range 1 to 2 and inside your primary firing arc. Each ship at range 1 of the obstacle rolls 1 attack die and suffers any damage or critical damage rolled, then remove the obstacle. So it's a 2-point torpedo which fires as an action and just removes asteroids and debris clouds from the table. So pretty good. The damage I don't think is going to be that reliable. It's 50-50. You're going to do some damage to someone. Obviously, if you've got a swarm flying through the asteroid field or that you've managed to set up, you can probably do a bit of splash damage onto them. But I don't think that's why you would take it. It just lets you probably have a bit of a weird play style. I'm struggling to come up with a specific list that's going to take advantage of it. But not necessarily like the fell kind of thing, but if you're flying a tight-knit group and want to control your approach and stuff like that, maybe the old style big swat with dogs list, stuff like that. If you want to approach through the asteroid field, you can take advantage of it as cover and then remove that as you want to dart through to approach. So there's different options for it. It's quite interesting. Again, I don't really think it's going to be a massive damage potential, but it's just interesting that there is now a way to add extra debris and then remove it. And obviously the fact that the Shadowcaster could have 2 rigged cargo chutes because it's an illicit and it doesn't say that it's limited to 1. I mean, heck, you could run 3 of these on Jumpmasters and really mess with people. So it's quite interesting. I like the look of the ship. It looks like it's going to be a fast large base ship. That 3 bank being green looks pretty sexy. Hopefully it all leans towards it being a quick ship. There's no way it's going to have a 5 forwards because it's just crazy on a large base ship, but hopefully it'll have a good amount of green and white on the dial and be able to actually pursue things. Then the other exciting features that we have spoiled are the crew cards. More 1-point crew for Scum and a 2-point crew. So when you stick Kentsu into a crew slot, she is 1 point. At the start of the end phase, you may choose 1 enemy ship inside your firing arc at range 1 to 2. That ship does not remove its tractor beam tokens. So, tractor beam tokens that persist. That was talked about when the article was first brought up for Wave 9, that there was going to be a way to do this. And it looks like it's this crew card that does achieve that. It's really good. It's a shame, obviously, you can't put her on herself because then just handing out it as just an automatic tractor beam token that never goes away. But in combination with the title, she should do work. Obviously, you can have a couple of Seeks with tractor beams. There's a bit of filler in your list, stuff like that, maybe. Yeah, I feel like there's some potential to mess people up there, and potentially you can stack multiples and throughout the turns that never go away if you can stay locked onto them with the Shadowcaster. Then we have IG-88D. Yes, IGD. I don't know why the internet persisted in telling me that I was wrong when I said that it was probably going to be IG-88D, because there's no other ship in the Scum faction that could take advantage of D's ability anyway. So we already knew what this card did. For 1 point, you take the pilot ability of each friendly ship with the IG-2000 upgrade card. So no other Scum ship that has a crew slot has the 3 Segnor. So IGD's ability isn't usable with any other ship. So having it reduced down to either A, B or C, I feel like it's the best way to go. And then where would I put him? Obviously there's the Morello with HOC alongside IGB. It's a pretty nasty combination. You throw Bosk and Zuckus on there and pretty much smash people's faces in with that. Other ones that I like the idea of is obviously Manaru with IGD crew, and then you take IGC, so when you get a boost, Manaru gets to evade, and then she can pass people evade tokens. So not as usable in this style, because you start running out of points. So it's not like you can have IGC, Manaru and Dengar to do a stupid Dengaroo list, but you get the idea. It's pretty funky. Then the final crew is Latsrazi. When defending, you may remove one stress token from the attacker to add one evade result to your roll. 2 points for this crew. You have to stress your attacker first, and then it adds a result to a roll. So I can see why it could be good, but I think it's a bit too... there's too many other it's too conditional, that's the phrase I'm thinking of. It's too conditional for me to cost 2 points. So unless I'm really missing something, I feel like it's really good on Ventress, because you just assign that stress, but it's not like we're seeing a whole plethora of scum control at the minute throwing stress onto people. So unless we get more in that type of meta for scum to be able to apply stress onto people, I don't know how valuable that is at the moment, but we'll call her a sweeper card for now. I don't think she's massively underpowered or anything. I just feel like in the current state of scum, she could have cost 1 point, and then she might have been abused a little bit on Ventress, but I don't feel like that's a bad thing, having a card that comes in the pack being really good on the ship. It's still 38 points if she was 1 point. Then you're going to put the title on as well, which was... let's have a look. 3 points, yeah. So you're already at 41 points for what we assume is going to be a pretty control-heavy ship. Overall, my thoughts on the Shadowcaster: I think it's going to be a really good ship. It's not going to be massively tanky. I don't think you could build it that way with Sabine and double glitter stims, throw Latsrazi on there and try and come up with a way to keep people stressed. But I don't know, there's a few different ways and means of building it. I like the Kensu control kind of thing at the moment, and then Ventress I'm not 100% on yet. I'll have to stick it on the table and see what else we can do with stress. Stress and tractor beam should be interesting, and yeah, other than that, I really like the control elements of the cargo chute as well. That's going to add a lot into a game, I feel. Just altering the battlefield after a deployment is going to be really strong, really messing up people's approaches. You see how much effort people put into openings now, stuff like that. If you've planned out an opening and then suddenly an extra debris gets dropped in your way, it's going to probably put a bit of a cramp on your style. So there we go, those are my thoughts on the Shadowcaster. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, everyone, and hopefully I'll link any other details in the description. And if you've got any comments, anything that I missed, any fun combinations that you've thought of, throw some comments in there. I always try to respond, and I'll probably try and do a summary show. Now all 4 videos are up and the initial article. I'll have a read through the comments and see if I can do a back and forth video where I'll bring some of the stuff that other people have mentioned up and talk about stuff like that. Thanks for watching, everybody.